Hello, everyone. Ron Zarata here, and you're watching Timing is Everything. And welcome to Chapter 1, Episode 3, Intro to Set Me Free. In this episode, I will be showcasing a song that I wrote back in 1991 titled Set Me Free, which is actually the second song that I ever wrote. This song is very special to me. Why? Because while I didn't know at the time, I would become an individual who surrounds himself every day with knowing what is happening in our world. The one world we live in, our planet Earth, and I would write about it. From an early age, I was fascinated with how we lived in all parts of the world. Why do we do what we do as human beings to each other? I will never grasp it. I remember sitting up one evening watching the news, as many of us did during the specific time period in 1991, watching the live images of war on TV. For me, and many of us at the time, the Gulf War was something we had never seen before. At my age at the time, I had only read about war in textbooks and magazines. I was too young to remember the Iran-Iraq War of the early 80s, the Libyan invasion of 81, the Lebanon War in the mid-80s, the Ugandan Civil War in 86, the invasion of Panama in the late 80s, or the countless of other wars or conflicts that happened in the 80s. To all due respect, I was too young to remember all of these, so my apologies if I didn't call each one out. But watching the launch of Operation Desert Shield and followed by Operation Desert Storm, man, it was something I had never seen before live on TV. It made me so upset to see the images at the time. Human beings bombing each other, shooting each other, our men and women sacrificing their lives. My neighbor's brother actually went to fight in that war. And actually, so did my other neighbor's brother as well, now that I think about it. While I was fortunate that it didn't affect my immediate family, it did to theirs, and I was still affected by it. So much that I did not know how to let my feelings out. So I took to pen and paper. I remember watching the news one evening, hearing a person screaming out, "Set me free!" live on TV. Can you imagine it being you having to scream that? This is not a movie. It was not a skit. It's real time and live on TV. Someone crying for help. Yet I'm watching and I cannot do anything about it. And at that moment, thinking and just watching them scream this out. I'll never forget it. I also remember watching people flee on foot away from the war, trying to get away from it all. I could not understand how my country that I lived in could be a part of something so brutal like this. I simply just did not understand at the time. I was a kid. We talked about it at school, at home at the dinner table, with my friends. So yes, it was talked about, but I didn't see anything happen. No immediate changes. It was a rough time to go through. So I remember turning off the TV one evening after watching the bullets fly and the sirens ring aloud, flashes of gunfire in the night sky, etc. I started to write. I started off the song with what I remember hearing on the news that one evening, "Set me free." Then immediately I thought of the words "cover me," because I could see so many people running for their lives trying to take cover somewhere, including our own men and women out there fighting. I continued writing, "You're raised with raids," as I saw kids going through this over there. Small kids, younger than myself at the time, living through this every day. And I asked myself why I was living over here with nothing like that. Nothing as they're experiencing, at least. I felt lucky. I couldn't even imagine having to live life that way, and I felt so grateful that I was not. I continued to write, but felt that I was adding too much to it as I was 2 pages deep. I decided to then scale it back and repeat a lot of the lyrics. Why? Because that's how I heard family members over there, people just screaming them out. They kept repeating things like, phrases like "stop the war" or "we're missing a loved one," etc. I kept hearing "set me free" ring off in my head repeatedly. So I changed my lyrics purposely to have more repetition to show exactly how I was experiencing it. I wanted each lyric to represent what I was watching and how it made me feel for the innocent civilians having to live through this and our men and women fighting over there. When I finished the lyrics, I remember telling myself, I want the music behind these words to come across as I saw them on TV. So I started off the song with the sound of a compressor sustainer, which is actually a Boss CS1, which actually I don't even have anymore. That gave me a perfect sound of a simulation of me changing the channels and simulating changing channels on the TV, and at almost every channel seeing something about the war. Then I thought, I also want to have a siren in the background somehow, mimicking the sound I heard on TV as the bombs and gunfire went off. So I was able to generate this sound with the guitar harmonics and feedback with that same compressor. It worked for what I was trying to accomplish. I wanted the song to sound somewhat aggressive, but not too much. So I sang the songs aggressively to a point and played the drums a little harder than I was used to actually at the time. When I was done writing the music to it, I was satisfied that the song captured how I felt about what I was watching and experiencing. So here's a sample of the song, Set Me Free, in its original form played on my 4-track as I wrote it back in 1991. Another old recording, and I hope you can hear what I was trying to get across as I originally wrote this at age 13. This song was completely written about the Gulf War of the early 90s. So there you go. That is basically in a nutshell how I came to write this specific song and what it meant to me at the time of writing it. Even as I hear it today, it angers me at the fact that we are still at it with war in our world today. The specific song was written over 30 years ago, and look where we are at today, still. At the beginning of this episode, I explained that the song was special to me. Writing about this subject would not be my last time. Over time, I learned to write a lot about current events going on in our world. As you continue to listen throughout the chapters that I upload and future content, You will hear me explain why I chose to write the way I did at that specific time. So again, I decided to keep it as close to the original as possible. I've taken this song and re-recorded using everything I know today, but still keeping its original vibe, and yes, again, in a full step up on guitar, which I mistakenly did back then. I thank you for listening to the story of this song titled Set Me Free. This is the second song in my first chapter of 12 songs that formed my youth from the ages of 13 to 16. I welcome you to let me know what you think in the comments, provide any feedback, words of encouragement, etc. Perhaps thoughts of what you remember yourself during these times. For those that are Gulf War veterans, I thank you for your service. I also thank all service members, past and present, for your service as you navigate through the troubling times of war even today. For those that have lost their lives in service, may you rest in peace, and may God be with you, your families, and your loved ones. And I thank you for your sacrifice. Individuals like myself never forget. Please be sure to like and subscribe to stay updated on new videos and content as my musical journey through YouTube gets published. Please stay tuned for my next episode, episode 4, and where I will be showcasing the actual and full song, Set Me Free, as it's written today. Thanks for watching.